Hey, welcome back to Grit Gym. I'm here with what movie is it? Purge. The Purge. So this is actually Rachel for all of you guys that are terrified. You gonna keep that on the whole time? You gonna talk?
Yeah, I'll talk.
Is this kind of fun for you?
Yeah.
All right. So on Tuesdays, Rachel comes on the show. We talk about the show's about health, exercise, nutrition. Mindset and recovery, right? But your relationships play into that quite a bit. So if you're in a relationship that doesn't support your health journey, you have to somehow get on the same page, right? So we're trying to do this show to kind of help out with the whole making the health journey work and making the relationship work, so that they both, because it's a symbiotic thing, right? One helps the other. So today it's getting a little creepy because I can't see your facial expressions, so it's like totally messing me up. It wasn't.
Oh, you're just like so serious.
Wasn't liking it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, go back and forth between that and that. Apparently, she had a bunch of like wild makeup on that I didn't get to see. What did you do?
I was gonna do zombie makeup, but I was missing like the key part of it. So
What's the key
I'll put
part
it on
of it?
later today, and I'll put it up.
I don't know. The first, well, you guys don't know that this is quite a few years ago now, but this is probably like the first or second Halloween that we ever spent together. I met Rachel somewhere, and she jumps on my car with all this zombie makeup on, and I was like parked, and I was like waiting for them to pick them up, and all of a sudden she jumps on my car and is like, "Let me in!" And she looks, I mean, like a zombie off of like the Walking Dead kind of zombie, like really good zombie outfit. And I was like, "No, I'm not letting you in." She's like, "Roll down the window," and I'm like, "No, that's not going to happen."
I had like the colored contacts in too. So
Yeah, she had the colored contacts. It was pretty creepy. And also, one of her friends does like professional, like movie style makeup artist type stuff. So it was.
No, we just did it ourselves.
I know you guys did, but she's still like really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so today we're talking. What are we talking about today?
Relationships.
We're talking about complaining about your significant other. Where this originally stemmed from was, so I was out with a bunch of people, and this one guy that was in the group kept on complaining about his spouse over and over, just constant complaint, like every 20 minutes. It was like, yeah, my wife this and my wife that, and finally I was just like, I said something about. I'm not saying it's verbatim, this is pretty close, but I said, I've heard you complain about your wife about 5 times now. Why do you insist on talking about yourself like that? And he looked at me with this bewildered look, and he was like, what do you mean? I'm not talking, like it's not me, it's her. And I forget how it went after that, but I was like, yeah, I get what you mean. That's whatever. Well, he went on about like all the stuff that he adds to the relationship and all the stuff that she takes away from the relationship. And I was like, well, that's all well and good, but you're still talking about yourself. Like you're the one coming up with the complaint. You're the one that it's coming out of your mouth, and it's your experience of the situation. So ultimately, yeah, this does have something to do with you, even if you are accurate in what you're saying. And I don't know if it had quite the effect that I wanted it to have when I kind of called him out on it, but anyway, but it was obvious that it was much more about him than about his wife. Anyway, so we're going to discuss some of the topics around that. What did you think? Should I even have done it?
I think you should have gone into it like explaining a little bit more.
Yeah, that's typical me.
You're just like kind of putting it out there, and
I just asked him a question.
Having him try to figure out what your angle.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, yeah, maybe if you were in the right company, then yes.
Okay, but anyway,
what do you think? Open to that
do you think if that guy is sitting there complaining about his wife, that that says more about him or more about her?
Kind of says a lot about the relationship and what they value and how they see each other. Obviously, it's not in a positive light if he constantly is saying negative things.
Well, yeah, obviously, but like what it ultimately came down to, my perspective was that I said, well, if you knew, what did I say? If you knew that you were doing everything that you possibly could to make your relationship everything that you want it to be, then you would never have to put her down. Is what I was saying when I explained myself to him, and that just totally fell on deaf ears. After a while, I think he basically got it, but like to me, from my perspective, if you have a complaint about your significant other, like do something about it. Like not talking about it, avoiding the scenario, complaining about it to all your friends, like it's just messing with your experience of her or of him. Thoughts? Nice jacket, by the way. I think I've seen that before.
Once or twice.
Because it's mine.
Yeah. It's warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like it does say something about the effort that he's putting into the relationship. Not just, and there's two sides to every story, so to her, she could be complaining about him just as much.
She probably is.
On the other side.
She's probably complaining about being complained about. That asshole! Nothing's ever good enough for him.
What a jerk.
What a bitch. Yeah, they're just back and forth, just doing the same thing. Kind of we're back and forth with this coffee.
But
it's too hot for you to hold in your hands, isn't it?
What friend wants to sit there and listen to his friend talk about the negative stuff in the relationship and how the complaints that he has about his wife? Like, why does he feel the need to?
That's why I said it, because I was like, you're about as fun as hemorrhoids. Let's change the subject.
Yeah, I know. Clearly, he's just venting, trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know.
What do you think of the perspective that if he was doing everything that he possibly could, then he wouldn't feel like, or he wouldn't have these reasons to go to these complaints?
If he's doing everything he can, then, if you're doing everything you can, you've probably addressed all these problems.
Yeah, I think so too. And why would you feel bad? If you did everything that you possibly could, there's literally nothing else that you can do, how could you ever feel bad about that? You might be a little disappointed that it didn't work out, but you lose the game and you did everything that you absolutely possibly could. Yeah, losing sucks. But what else could you have done? You did every single thing that you possibly could have.
Then it's probably not going to work out.
No, I'm just realizing, looking at this mask. Rachel actually made this. She made her and like 4 or 5 of her friends. She made a bunch of these, and they all went out. And so it was a bunch of these really pretty girls walking around with these creepy ass masks on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug this in real quick.
I painted it. Yeah. But no, I think that if they're both going to their friends complaining about each other, then they both need to address what's wrong and stop going to their friends for advice. It should be a conversation between them, not between everybody else. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't know what's right or wrong.
Otherwise, you're not doing everything you possibly can.
Yeah, if you haven't done everything, like if you're complaining to your friends, you're avoiding the confrontation. If you're complaining to your friends, you're avoiding the confrontation with yourself. If you're complaining to your friends, you're trying to get them to pat your back. If you're complaining to your friends, like what's the complaint?
You're trying to become a victim and
exactly. That's what this guy was
justified in
positioning
how you're
himself
feeling.
I just totally cut you off like crazy. Keep going.
Well, I cut you off too, but you're basically positioning yourself like over and over and over again. He's telling you these stories. He's positioning himself to be the victim. He's telling you all these stories about how bad his wife is acting. So he wants sympathy. If he's not very happy in a relationship, getting sympathy is kind of justifying his actions and his behavior in that moment.
Yeah, I think that's
what do you mean I'm not being, or what do you mean I'm having problems with myself? No, it's her, it's not me. He wants to be the victim.
But it was him. He's the one. No one else is creating this in his mind. I think that you're right on that. He's wanting to be the victim and he's asking for sympathy to justify his actions. What?
I love when you say I'm right.
Yeah, no, I think that you're spot on. Agree. You act like it doesn't happen very often.
Well,
I like to take the side of the devil's advocate on a pretty regular basis, so this is probably kind of refreshing for Rach.
No. But going into a relationship, you kind of have to have those standards. Like, you have to have an idea of where you want to be in a relationship, and then when it doesn't happen, you can't complain about it. You got to start off being clear with them.
What do you mean you don't? Like, because I agree that clarity is this huge thing. If you're as clear, like most people are about as clear as mud in their relationship. They're like, what do you want out of your relationship? They're like, oh, I don't know. Like, then how are you going to have that really good?
Like how you said that you made like a huge list of things that you want to have in a relationship.
Yeah. I made like, basically created a girl that didn't exist, and I created a relationship that could not be, and then I found the girl that didn't exist, and we're in the process of making that a relationship that cannot be.
So
she's embarrassed.
Sometimes. So you made like a plan of what you wanted, and you were very clear in that. So like if something along the way happens, then you can't. I don't know what I was going with that. But basically, you were very clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So his ability to complain about his wife, if he would have been clear, maybe that is justified. I don't know.
I don't think there's any justification for putting yourself in the victim category unless
No,
you are the
not
victim.
that.
Like if you're the woman who gets physically abused in a relationship, that first time it's kind of you are the victim of the scenario. It's like God, like this. The guy beat you up. That's awful. That's terrible. It's tragic. The second time though, you're no longer the victim. You chose to stay in that relationship. You should have got the hell out.
Yeah, of course. And I don't know. Some people think that they're brought together by fate. But I mean, maybe they were brought together by fate, but like as a learning experience. You know what I mean?
Maybe. It was just funny how you said it.
Well, some people are like, no, but I need to be with them because it's fate.
Oh my God.
But like, no, maybe that person did come into your life not as fate, like that you're supposed to be together, but you're supposed to learn from this shitty experience.
Yeah, that's like the I love it. This is one of those things.
Learned.
What is it? Not hindsight's 2020. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm like, yeah, in hindsight, everything happens for a reason. No shit. But like, no, it doesn't. Not forward thinking, reverse thinking. It does.
It's not like all laid out for you. Is what I think people think it is. Like, this is supposed to happen. This is your destiny. I think that things happen along the way.
Are you thinking of that story with Molly and my mom and I at
No.
the dinner? Okay, so
No.
I thought I told you this story. I thought that's what you were going off of.
No.
All right, so there was a scenario right after my sister got married. My sister got married. Like I had known this guy long enough to forget his name. Literally, somebody was at a party that I was at, and I was like, "Hey, so and so, Molly's fiance knows you." And
you say Molly is your sister.
Yeah, and Molly's my sister. And he goes, "Oh yeah, what's his name?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. This is kind of funny that I don't know his name, but I didn't know his name." Like, so they hadn't been dating for really long, and like 2 months after they got married, I remember it was my mom, who's kind of a romantic, me that's kind of a romantic, and then Molly all sitting around the island at our house. My mom's like baking a pie. Molly's jabbering on about how about her wedding or whatever, and they started talking about when she went to Holland. This is a short story made long. Sorry guys, but she did some stuff overseas, and she was like, "What if I would have stayed there?" And my mom was like, "Well, then you wouldn't have met Chris." And Molly goes, "Oh yeah, I would. That's how these things happen." And my mom and I died laughing, like crying tears, and Molly did not appreciate that very much. And my mom goes, instantaneously, my mom goes, "Oh, no, they don't." And then we both started laughing. So I kind of told that out of order. But anyway, yeah. But I think that some people think like that, like, "Oh, it's fate. No, it's wonderful." But I don't think people break up most of the time because they're not right for each other or their relationship doesn't work. I don't think they work at the relationship, and I don't think that they work at becoming clear on what they want.
Well, that's a problem.
Or clear with who they are. I don't know which one comes first. I personally think that
Chicken or the egg?
Yeah, I personally think that you should get clear with who you are first and what you want first.
Well, yeah, that's why you mapped out your. No, I don't mean to bring that up over and over again, but
No, it's okay.
You got clear about what you wanted. so that, I mean, it's a plan.
Yeah, and you didn't get clear with what you wanted, and you wound up with me.
Well, and also you have like.
That was as evil a laugh as I could do. How'd that go?
It was okay. But also you kind of have like not only what you want the other person to be, but you kind of have to have your own like standards and morals and like beliefs.
Yeah, of course.
And then
that's one of those.
You have your like this can never happen.
Not red flags. I don't know, but I get what you're saying.
Okay, like
if this happens,
like
then we're out.
Boundaries of the relationship, like
yeah.
Like for example, if you ever cheat, or if your other person in the relationship cheats, like that's your.
But even on that, like you would have to get very clear. Both of you would have to verbally and agree that you are in a mutual or a sexually exclusive relationship.
I know, but that's your like in the beginning of the relationship. That's on the relationship, and that's on you. Like if this is what you don't want in the relationship, you have to be very clear of that.
Yeah, and upfront with the other person. Like,
I mean, you can't just assume, but like
that's what I mean. Assumption just makes it super unclear. Like whatever this guy was complaining about, I don't even remember now. But there was always these complaints. It's like, well, if you just would have been upfront about that. I can't tell you how many people I know that they wanted kids, and they're like, yeah, he never wants kids. He never wants kids. Like, well, did you know that going into the marriage? I'm like, yeah, but I always figured he'd change.
That's kind of a big thing to just hope for.
Seriously.
You know? It's like if they don't want them...
They're very clear. I don't want kids someday. Okay, well, I do. See ya.
So I'm going to, like, go along for the ride and just hope that you have that instance where you're like, oh, I think I want kids now.
Yeah. Like, I was very clear. I want to constantly improve our relationship. I was very clear up front. Like, like if you didn't want to do that, like it should have been. I mean, it would have come up by now because.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean,
hey, let's read this book together. No, I'm not doing that. Hey, let's do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against growing and like being curious. So I think that's kind of one of your big things.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, yeah.
I don't know who would be against that though.
Well, to us, that doesn't seem like it. I know if I can name a few.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
That would just be like, no, we're supposed to be cosmic from the beginning, and that's how it's always going to be.
Like soulmates?
Jeez, yeah, fucking shoot me.
Well, and relationships are work. They're never constantly changing. So it's not just like, oh, you get to a point and it's just easy.
Yeah, that's the person like by making it easy, it became hard. If you work at it, it becomes easy. If you don't work at it, if you want the easy relationship, it's going to get hard. If you want to work your relationship, it's going to get easy.
Yeah. Like at that point, if you don't have any problems, then you have a problem.
Seriously.
What does Morris say about arguing in a relationship? If you don't have disagreements, then...
then like, what are you doing, or something like that? No. He said this was one of the people that we went to early on in our relationship.
He's like a life coach.
He's not a life coach.
Well,
he's a
not life coach.
Counselor.
Counselor.
Yeah, he did marriage counseling. Anyway,
find me a relationship that doesn't have.
Yeah, he goes, find me a relationship that doesn't disagree, and I'll show you at least one person that's giving up.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. But like obviously these two people, they were disagreeing on something. There was some kind of disagreement. There's some kind of lack of clarity. There's something there that isn't meshing. So one is complaining about the other, or both are complaining about each other. Mm-hmm. But like usually people justify the shit out of this. They're like, no, I'm right to complain, or no, he should be the one, or she should be the one, or they're not open to that. Well, find a way. Like, to me, like, if you're doing everything that you possibly can, you got to find a way to get them there.
Well, so like in that instance, I think you were being, I don't know, a good friend if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this person a friend.
Or
but.
just, and not even a friend, but like when you're sitting around with a bunch of girls, some of them really love to be that like girl that just pats your back and is like, oh, and then they're like, I'm such a good friend.
But it's just pity points. Those are just
I know,
pity
but
points.
you're
They're
also
terrible.
you're not helping them at all in the situation. You're
No.
just giving them a back rub, basically. It's gonna go away.
Sweep it.
You're gonna go back to.
It's
It's not giving them a solution. It's not being. You're not being critical of their behavior or giving them constructive criticism. You're basically just babying them.
Yeah, that's why I say like complaints are not about the person that you're complaining about. It's about the person that's doing the complaining.
Yeah.
Like you've got to look back at you first. Mm-hmm. So like if you're complaining about me, I'm like, well, tell me about the complaint. And I don't hear about it. How am I supposed to do anything? If you're complaining to all your friends, how am I ever supposed to do anything? I can't. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
You're taking away from the relationship as well.
Yeah. So like I'm back. Like I would be completely ignorant to the idea. Like I wouldn't know that I didn't know that it was a problem. But if you came to me and you said, "Hey, blah 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 blah," I might have a solution.
I don't like this.
Yeah. Or can we do something about this? You know, like if you like, obviously there has to be something there. But if you just go out and complain about them, it doesn't solve anything. There's no solution there.
Yeah, you gotta have a conversation.
I think a lot of people in relationships like to say, "I'll take care of you for me if you take care of you," or if I take care of you, will you take care of me? And me in relationships, I'm like I think that's kind of how I used to think about them.
Like the need to be needed.
And after about I don't know how many books and how many hours learning about relationships and stuff, that I find it was just like, well, duh, no, it's not. It's I'll take care of me, you take care of you. I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me.
So let's not take care of each other.
Well, yeah, like it's not my responsibility to make you feel good. It's up to you to make you feel good, and it's up to me to make me feel good, and then we get to share the feel good. It's not like, oh, I'm going to make you feel good, and then you're going to make me feel good, and then hopefully something blossoms out of that.
Yeah, and the assumption thing is kind of related to that too.
How so?
Like, I don't know, don't assume that they know what you're talking about.
Yeah, good point.
That don't assume that they can read your mind.
There was a little that wasn't a jab. It was like pointing something. That's something
just like a thing for life, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
but
you can't just get mad at someone. You can't get mad at someone for doing something if you weren't clear with them in the beginning. I don't know. It comes up all the time when I'm like when you serve someone, like because I bartend sometimes. Like, if somebody wants something, they have to ask you for it. I'm not going to be able to read your mind.
Well,
I'm not going to be able to please you and give you a pleasant experience if there's something that you want and you never tell me.
That was one of the other things we heard early on was ask for 100% of what you want 100% of the time.
Yeah, that plays into it as well.
Not easy all the time.
It's I get really good at picking up on things and like anticipating a need.
But you're getting paid to do that.
But I can't assume that that's what you want every time.
In a cooperative relationship where there's no money exchange and there's really no other exchange, it's just like I don't want to have to do that all the time. Just tell me. Like that'd be exhausting.
Yeah.
To have to guess all the time.
Well, that's what it is. After a while, you just kind of assume, but I don't know.
How don't you know this? It's like, dude, come on.
Why would I want to do the dishes?
Why would I want to do the dishes? But yeah, to me, the like when you're talking about the complainers, like if you're complaining about, like, you are the source of the complaint. Like if I'm complaining about Rachel, I am the source. I'm creating it in my mind. I'm saying the words. I'm creating the experience. She might not have any idea that is going on, and I might be justifying it by saying, she should know this. How do I know that she knows it? Maybe I gotta ask her. Maybe I gotta tell her. Maybe I gotta express something. Or maybe I gotta take care of my bullshit so that I can actually have a conversation with her about it. Maybe it has nothing to do with her.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I wouldn't know because you didn't tell me and you're just talking to your friends about it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is hypothetical, obviously.
Oh, I'm sure it's happened at some point. Everybody's had a complaint
Yeah,
about
I'm
somebody.
sure. Yeah.
But
I'm sure I've complained about you. I mean, everybody has relationships where things are going to go wrong and they just kind of want to vent. But when it becomes like a
vent
routine,
vent is
it's
an
just like,
interesting
I
word.
can't listen to you anymore. I can't give you any more advice. I can't, because this is the exact same thing that you talked about 2 days ago.
Venting, yeah, exactly. Venting is just such an interesting thing because it's like, can I vent to you for a couple minutes? It's like, yeah, please come dump all of your garbage all over me, please. I can't wait. No,
let's bring the mood down.
Go
really
vent outside. Like,
low for a minute.
why would you engage more with all of your own bullshit?
I don't know, maybe talk about the weather
But
or
but like
the news.
But like the complainer, that's what they're doing. Like misery loves company, right?
Yeah.
If I can make everybody in my circle miserable, or if I can push all the positive people away and keep all the negative people, now I got more company. Now we can all be miserable together, and it'll be great.
Well, if you were to tell somebody that they're being a Debbie Downer, half the time they have no idea. You know what I mean? Like,
Or they get offended.
They get like
they were already being the victim, and then they just further went down a yeah.
I don't know. I see a pattern sometimes. I mean, I catch myself all the time going in negative mindset, but like I pull it back.
No shit.
I try really hard. Nobody's perfect. Not even you.
Why? What do you mean? Not even me? Like, of course,
Not even me.
Like, definitely not me.
But I mean, having conversations with people, like negative things get brought up all the time. Oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze.
Are ya? Good thing you don't have that mask on anymore.
Yeah. Okay, I think I stopped it.
All right, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think of a complainer? If you have if a person doing the complaining, is the complainer at fault, or is the other person that is being complained about at fault? And then also on a lighter note, write in what you're going to be for Halloween in the comment section below.
I'm going to be a.
But if you knew that you were doing enough in a relationship to make it everything that my position anyway, is that if you knew that you were doing everything, if the complainer would, let me restart. If the complainer knew that the complainer was doing everything that they possibly could to make the relationship everything that they wanted it to be, then they would never, ever have to put the other person down. So to me, it's like the person doing the complaining doesn't think that they're doing a good enough job in the relationship, or isn't enough in the relationship, and so they end up putting their other people down.
They're taking the blame off themselves and placing it onto the significant other.
I think so. Yeah, I think that they're like no, it couldn't be me, it's her, because they can't take responsibility.
I mean, lots of people do it, but
everybody does it at some point. It's hard not to. It's just like it's so ingrained in where we are as a society. But anyway, are we ready to shut it down?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So happy Halloween, guys. I hope you guys have a great time tonight, or today, or whatever's going on. The pictures that everybody keeps putting up of their kids are
pretty funny.
They're pretty funny. They're pretty great, and
so many funny costumes.
There's some great ones. Yeah, this is actually usually like when the parents who are just like the habitual offenders of putting too many pictures of their kids on the internet.
You enjoy it around this time?
This is the best time of year. Otherwise, you should just not do it so much.
Whatever. You don't have any room to talk.
What do you mean?
You don't have any kids.
Oh, that's a good point. Anyway, there you go with the complainer.
Yep.
Ah! All right, thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. We come on the show. Rachel comes to the show every Tuesday. Creep. It is really creepy. I don't know why. It's just like super, super creepy. But Rachel comes on the show every Tuesday. We do the show each weekday at 12:30. If you can take the time, please hit the share button and the like button and send this out to everybody that you know. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.